How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, where we're bringing Brabham back to the very top of Formula 1. In that last episode, we had the Spa Grand Prix in Belgium, and what a crazy final lap that was. I was under so much pressure. I had tyre wear. I managed to get a little bit lucky with Giovinazzi holding everyone up in that early part of the race before he pitted, just to give me a gap so that then I could crack on with the pace. I hope you guys enjoyed the setup part of the video as well. If you want more of that sort of thing, please let me know, and I can do it for every track, or every so often I can do it. I'm sure someone like Spa and Monza, long straights is going to be pretty similar, but other tracks, maybe I'll tinker with it a little bit. But let me know what you think. If there's anything you want me to add or take away from these videos, please let me know. I really want the feedback from the people who are watching and you guys, because it means a lot to me to make this as best as possible for the viewers, and that's what I want to achieve. So let me know what you think, and yeah, I'd love your feedback. Heading into the R&D page now, our major upgrades aren't going to come just yet, but they will be soon. Thank you to Kevin for pointing this out to me, but I hadn't actually done this rear downforce upgrade, but that's what we're going to do now. I've got enough resource points, and the fact that someone in the comments has noticed something, I think that's great, because that's exactly what I wanted for this series, people to engage with it, and if I've missed something, let me know so I can fix it and help this series grow, and that means a lot to me, so thank you to everyone who's commenting. I love the engagement on these videos, and hopefully we can just keep building this community together and keep going and build it up and up and up. It's time for the Monza Grand Prix, and I've seen in the messages just over here, we've had our first driver retirement. Sebastian Vettel is leaving Formula 1, and very much like in real life, whether in real life he ends up retiring or not, who knows. Obviously there's talk of him going to Aston Martin potentially next year, of Racing Point at the moment. But yeah, Sebastian Vettel is retiring, won't be in this series next season, which is such a shame, and I might add, he's a four-time world champion. I think it's such a shame that Ferrari haven't really given him the car that he deserves, because I think if he goes to Mercedes when Hamilton does instead, I think you're talking about Vettel as one of the best ever, so maybe slightly like Fernando Alonso, maybe sometimes in the wrong car at the wrong time, but a four-time world champion. I was there in India racing myself when he won one of his world championships, and he was just superb in that Red Bull. But yeah, first retirement of the series. Sebastian Vettel is no longer with us after this season. Heading straight into Q1 now, right at the end. I did a bit of a banker lap, and hopefully you can tell that we did do reasonably well in qualifying, seeing as I'm starting with the last lap in Q1. That's all we need to see. Into P12, Mick P19, not the best result for him. And again into Q2, I did a banker lap, and then I followed through with a second lap on new tyres. So I used the old tyres on the first run just to get a lap in, get a feel for the track again and the car, see if I wanted to change anything, and then head straight back out. And I managed to gain a fair bit of time through here, just rolled a little bit of more speed through, managed to still get a good exit. And again, same as the second Lesmo, I used a bit of curb on the entry there, and I was able to rotate the car quite nicely, and then into the Ascara chicane. I cut it a little bit, but I didn't get a penalty, so I'm 4/10 up, which is a massive boost, and hopefully a little bit of a run. I was able to get a nice little tow from, I can't actually quite tell who that is in front of me. I believe it was a McLaren of Norris or Sainz, but half a second quicker, and up to P6 at the time, and we finished in P8, which means we are straight in to Q3. And look at, if you flick between, I was having a little look, another 10th and I was at least P12. If I'd lost even half a tenth, I was P12. So such small gaps, and I think that little toe, especially around Monza, is such a crucial part to play in the lap, that it really helped. I got a great run through turn 1 and 2 there, as you can see on my final run. Again, I did old tyres and then a newer set for Q3 right at the end, coming right to the end of qualifying, but gaining time, new tyres as well. It wasn't much of a gap, maybe a few tenths, but not too bad. Through the Ascara chicane, I didn't cut it as much, but I'm sure I probably lost a bit of time, as you can see there. Probably lost a tenth through that, but I don't really want to cut the corners and try and get away with it. I want to try and keep it as realistic as possible. I touched the curb on the inside there and just started losing time on the exit. It wasn't the best, wasn't the cleanest of laps, but just for us to get into Q3 was a massive result. I set the car up to try and be able to overtake and be as quick as possible in a straight line, and P10 in the end. We do have a grid penalty, so we'll be starting P15 for the race. Let's get into the action.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6-mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Now, I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Sergio Perez, and Stroll, Albon, Kvyat, Sainz, and Max Verstappen, Ricciardo, Gasly, Lando Norris, and Giovinazzi. Mr. Monaco, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Raikkonen, Esteban Ocon, and Kevin Magnussen, Schumacher, Grosjean, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Here we are for the start of the Monza Grand Prix here in Italy. Such a famous circuit with the old banking running under the track. It says a one-stop. I think that's what we're going to go for. Just get some track position. I've set this car up to be able to overtake because I have had a 5-place grid penalty. The electronic system needed to be changed and I didn't have any left. So I've had to put in a brand new controlled electronic system, which will mean 5 places further back. But it's a good thing we qualified 10th. I didn't quite put my lap together on the final run on the new tyres, but it is what it is. You know, I think even just to get into the top 10 was a massive effort. And how close was it to get from Q2 to Q3? I mean, a 10th separating about 5-6 drivers was crazy. And I think maybe the little toe I picked up from, I think it was Norris ahead of me, may have just benefited me. Even if it was half a tenth, that's a massive difference to the other cars. So I'm ready to go. I've set this thing up to be able to overtake, knowing that I had to have a grid penalty. So yeah, let's get into it, and I'm looking forward to this race. Ready for the start. If we can get a good run. Giovinazzi just ahead. I want to try and block Gio off there, and it worked out. Gasly up ahead. Gonna lift off. Got to try and hang this around the outside. Bit of oversteer. Got Verstappen next to me. This will be a good test of our straight line speed with these sorts of cars around us. Up the inside of Verstappen. They didn't have much pace in qualifying. It'd be interesting to see how they get on in the race. I'm driving like it's quali, and I haven't got the grip. I mean, I'm gonna have to try and stay within DRS range of the others. Oh, they've got a terrible run through there. That's fantastic for me. Run out of the DRS. Hopefully that gap will be able to they were fighting through the Ascari chicane. They're 3 wide now. With Gasly getting ahead of both of them, they must have made a mistake. And I'll be honest, I can't really. I always seem to struggle in the first run on the tyre, and then as soon as we pit for a fresh set, I always seem to just have more pace. Kind of banking on the guys ahead to battle a bit, start slipstreaming up behind each other, because I need them to fight it out a bit, so I can catch up and get within DRS range. And if I can do that, then we'll be in a good spot. But now I've got to try and keep Gasly behind as well. Signs with the problem. Oh, I'll tell you what. Signs, mate. Should have looked in your bloody mirrors, but I've got DRS off the back of him. And I've realised I've put way too much fuel in. Somehow. So I'm just going to sit in rich mix until the end of this stint. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up by using a bit of fuel, because I thought the car felt a bit heavy, and then I've looked at the fuel number and they put 3 extra laps in. Kvyat's 3 seconds ahead, so hopefully they're going to battle. Looks like they're side by side with Albon at the minute, so hopefully their battling will help us out. And then Gasly's 2.5 seconds behind. Looks like their battling has helped me catch up, because that gap was nearly 3 seconds, and now I'm 1.5 seconds, 1.7 behind. Norris is catching me at the moment. Trying to use up as much fuel as possible, but the car felt pretty ordinary. Oh, got away with that. Tyre wear seems not great. Yeah, getting towards 50%. Not overly happy about that. I think our pit stop should be coming up soon, so we can get off these tyres.
Okay, you're dropping a few tenths per lap to the car ahead.
I'm going to box this lap. Get off these tyres. And try and get a bit of an undercut maybe. I'm just trying to figure... I need something, because I can't catch the guys ahead, and the guys behind are kind of toing and throwing close to me. So hopefully we can have a good pit stop here. 2 Williams are struggling massively. Oh my. Go on, quick pit stop, love that. 2.9, it's alright. Could be better. But now, next 2-3 laps, just press on as quickly as possible. Really, I know I've got a long way to go on these tyres, but I was coming in next lap anyway. Oh, a bit of too much curb there. A curb either helps you or it hurts you. There's no in between. He was just ahead of us.
Okay, gap ahead is
Come out ahead.
20.6 seconds.
Hasn't really done much to the people ahead, but I was more worried about the guys behind, to be honest with you. Having said that, he's probably closer than he was before. He was about 3 seconds ahead towards the end of that run. 2 seconds now. You'd expect him to be a lot quicker. He's probably made the right call there by coming in early and getting away from that battle, which he doesn't really need to be involved with. Doesn't seem like anyone else close around us has pitted yet. This could really play in our favour, along with Russell, Albon even.
Some information on Ricardo. They are out of the race.
Ricardo's out of the race.
Caution, caution, yellow flags ahead.
All over. He
No
was
overtaking through the caution zone.
he was ahead of us, I believe. So that's helped us get up 2 positions, hopefully. Just a few laps, we've gained nearly 5 seconds on Russell. Getting a bit out of shape through there, but that's alright. Got away with it, really. I've started catching Albon. He's not really pulling away from me. I've had a good lap here. We can see what our pace is like without the rich mix. I'm sure Albon will gap us now, but it's helped us, hopefully. Maybe gain a few if they're going to go that long on the tyre. Mick's in the pits.
Mick is in the pits. Mick in the pits.
Seems like quite a few of that pack
Gap to car in front
came
is
in.
4.5
And it looks like, well, we've got out ahead of Verstappen, who was right behind us in that gaggle of cars right behind. So this strategy has paid off for the moment. Four seconds on them. Again, I'd expect him to come pretty quick at me, but hopefully we can keep up this pace. find our way into the points for this Monza Grand Prix. Guys behind have got mediums on. One thing I'd say, that was never an option for me, so I don't know whether they're doing a 2-stop, which I'd be surprised at. And if they are, that'd be amazing, because I'm definitely in a better position, bit of oversteer there, to get a good result, but maybe our tyre wear will be pretty similar towards the end of the race, but they will come pretty quick at me in this early phase, because obviously the tyre's a lot faster initially as well, up ahead. But yeah, 1.5 now. The amount they gain in a straight line because of that toe is unbelievable. I reckon they probably gain nearly a second a lap just from being quicker in a straight line. I find it interesting that everyone else was on a different strategy to me. Like, I've been given the hard tyre, I didn't have the option. Maybe I should have looked at it myself, because these two ahead are battling pretty hard. If every other team, pretty much, on the grid has gone for a 1-stop with the medium, why was that not an option for me? Why would that not be the first option if everyone else is doing the same? Because this hard tyre doesn't feel too good. Don't feel like I've got the pace to stay in the points at the moment, which isn't good, because I felt in qualifying we had a great race, we had a great car. Normally, the race car is a lot better than the qualifying car. Fast forward to Monza now, and it's completely the opposite. And that pack behind, must be Norris, is catching as well. So we might have a little battle between. That's terrible. Driving like that, I deserve to be overtaken, I'll be honest. And it'll probably happen here. I'm gonna. Oh, we made a bit of contact in the straight there. Gonna try and hang it around the outside here. Stop him from getting anywhere near me, but bloody hell, I didn't think he'd go that far up the inside. I was trying to defend from Ocon, and now Norris is right there with Giovinazzi and Kimi Räikkönen. I just hope they battle enough for me to just kind of pull away a bit for a while. Just run my own race and not have to worry about them trying to come past like they did on the lap before. They're coming now. I'll be alright into turn 1 if I don't outrate myself. That was terrible. I was too nervous about him coming past me up the inside that I outbrake myself and then mess myself up there. They're always really quick through this kink as well. It's really strange. Okay. Well, I'm surprised Ocon's got a front wing left, to be honest. He hit me once. He's hit me again into there. He's going to come at me now after here, I'm sure. Oh, maybe not. Hopefully that's enough damage for him. But he just sent it right up the inside there. Knocked into it. I don't know if it was because he was defending from Verstappen or whether it was because he was trying to go up the inside of me. I would assume it was because he was trying to defend from Verstappen, to be honest with you, and hopefully he can hold these guys up. If I can get a good clean run through here and let these two battle, I'll have a bit of a gap to work with. Not the best run, but if you look at that gap, as they've gone side by side, gained nearly 2 seconds, which is brilliant because they can stay side by side for the rest of this lap. Keep battling, gives me an opportunity, and they'll be using their tyres up as well, even more importantly. Still side by side. Ocon has come into the pits, that's interesting. He must have had damage, but now there's a swarm behind. Norris is now ahead of Verstappen. Normally I like a good battle, but I'm glad I'm not getting involved in that. As Kimi Look at it, 3 wide through turn 1 and 2. I've got to go back and have a little look at that. That is unbelievable. Here we go. Let's have a little do that one. There we go. Look at this. 3 wide. Kimi up the inside of all of them, and they've all just tried to go 3 wide through the rest of it. And Giovinazzi behind must be thinking, I hope you'll take each other out and I could just go straight by. I mean, it's now given me 3 seconds, and they're still going to be battling going into turn 4, 5 and 6, so... Oh, I've got that wrong. And now Kimi's got past. What a race that is behind. I'm glad I'm not getting involved in it, I'll be honest, but I should probably focus on driving rather than make mistakes like that. And they're side by side again. I'm really glad that I changed the setup coming into this race and qualifying, because otherwise I would have been very, very slow, and that wouldn't have helped us in this race. We would have been miles off. So that change of setup just to suit the circuit has really helped. Just trying to look after my tyres as best as I can now, because if they do end up catching, I make a mistake or whatever, then I need to make sure that I've got a bit of tyre life left. As you can see, they're getting towards the end, but so should the mediums. Just maybe why Norris is caught up and on the hards to those guys and has good pace. Trying to keep this gap very similar. Hopefully Kimi can have a bit of a crack at Norris one more time before the end of the race. That'll give me enough of a gap not to worry about it, but I'm still slightly concerned that they will come. Just, if they keep battling, then we'll be alright. Also, I might add, what an amazing circuit Monza is. There was a period of time when they probably couldn't afford to really pay for a Grand Prix, and I'm glad that they stuck with it, because it is just a spectacular place. I ended up doing like gophering. I was kind of working on the tyres for a GT team when my dad was racing when I was about 16, just helping out. Loved every second of it. It was so cool. I was working on like the original McLaren GT cars after they brought the new versions out, obviously from the past, and it was so cool to be involved. I'd never really been involved like that before. It was very much just, oh, I'll go to the racetrack, watch Dad, but it was my first taste of working in that environment, and I just loved every single second of it. And it was such a cool place to do it as well. Probably wasn't much help, to be honest, but it was good fun nonetheless. 2 laps to go now, and they're starting to come. 3 tenths, 4 tenths quicker that lap. But they are battling. Kimi's got past.
10.0 seconds.
And Norris is making a move now for that final points pen position.
There's only 1 lap.
And he's got past him on the final lap. That's a great move to make. That's exactly what you want to do. Almost be behind the guy heading into the final lap, because you can pull past him into turn 1 and then just manage the rest of the lap really nicely. You see it so often. And how about Mercedes struggles in Silverstone? I love the use of the soft compound tyres for everyone, because it just threw something different into the mix. Made it a lot more interesting. As Valtteri Bottas wins the race, he got done in that race, Silverstone, recently. Over the weekend, I felt like he had to try and battle Max, and they didn't have the tyre wear for it. They didn't have the tyres for it, and he ended up finishing 3rd. He'd be very disappointed after starting on pole, but Max is another level. He's so good for his age. If you put him in a Mercedes, he would challenge Hamilton all the way, I reckon. But here we are, end of the Italian Grand Prix, P9. That's a great result. Tell you what, with a 5-place grid penalty, if we'd started 10th, who knows where we would have ended up if we'd kept in DRS range. But driver of the day as well. I think that's 2 weekends in a row now we've got driver of the day. That is fantastic. It's such a historic circuit. It's a great result for us. So happy with that. Pace wasn't there in the first stint, and I think that messed us up, but I was concerned about the tyres going that long on the hards, but I just had to make it work. And luckily, the guys behind were battling. Ocon hitting us a couple of times there. We got lucky we didn't get damaged, because otherwise it would have thrown us right out of that race for points. And luckily we got there. Great result for us. 4th for Perez. That is a fantastic result for them, because on this index they're not that high up in comparison to Red Bull and Ferrari. So see Leclerc. What last year Leclerc winning it at Monza was just the coolest thing. Ferrari celebrating in front of the Tifosi. And one of the coolest podiums on the calendar as well was the fan stream onto the main straight. It was just amazing. It's just such a cool place. I love those historic circuits. Some of the new ones are quite cool as well, but the historic ones are just so awesome. And the history behind them is fantastic as well. There we have it. P9 for us. 2 more points to add. Valtteri Bottas, the winner. He's making a great claim for this championship. He is ahead of everyone. And Mick Schumacher, P14. Very pleased with that. I mean, obviously, Sainz and Ricciardo probably would have finished ahead of him, and maybe us as well, which wouldn't have helped. So, but even still, Schumacher 14th, ahead of both Haas's. We're now quicker than them on the performance index at the moment, and with those big upgrades coming, we'll be in a great position to try and challenge for points, and hopefully we can get some points before the end of this year. Felt like I got a pretty good start. For the most part, it was managed to get past a couple, but it was such a tricky position here. I had to cover off Giovinazzi and then managed just to send it up the inside. And that's where we ended up getting ahead of Ocon and Max Verstappen. Verstappen did come back at us. He had a bit more pace through this kink. And I was able to pull up behind him and make that move up the inside into turn 4. And then it was just about trying to manage the pace, trying to get close to the guys ahead. And I never really got within DRS range, unfortunately. Those first opening laps, I didn't have the pace, and it was up to try and just manage my ERS as best as I could. And then here's Sainz. I have no idea what Sainz is. Look, he turns right there, and I'm so lucky not to collect him, because otherwise that would have been a DNF for us. No idea what he was doing. You'd think he would look in his mirrors, but he didn't. Little bit of oversteer. Ooh, I struggled a bit with the rear. I think the rear upgrade on the wing will definitely help that moving forwards, and the major chassis upgrade we've got coming, and we've got a big engine upgrade. It's a shame we couldn't have the engine upgrade for this race of being such a power circuit, but it is what it is. Lovely looking car. I like the livery. We'll have to maybe switch it up again. This is where we got hit. There we are. Ocon hitting us there. See, a part of his wing comes off, trying to defend. I'm not sure what he was doing. I was kind of in the middle of both of them, and then we go again here. And I've tried to cover Max off. He's hit us there. We've made contact. We got so lucky we didn't come off. I didn't think he was going to send it that far up the inside. And maybe he picked up a bit of damage as well, because he didn't quite have the pace to kind of break away from the pack behind. And this is just carnage here. And you can see Ocon's had to defend. He's locked up and ended up colliding with us. And that is the damage. You can see on that left side of his wing. Lost the main end plate on that other side. And here we are, crossed the line in P9. A great result for us, and had to defend for my life in that one. I'm going to do a quality control upgrade on the chassis. We've got 5 million in the bank, and I want to get some of these done quickly so that we can save for a teammate towards the end of this season. I'm also going to do an aero upgrade for the fabrication, boost the spec up as best as I can, get the fabrication going, because if we can have 2 developments at the same time, then we can really start to progress our car quickly. Our major engine upgrade has come in, and hopefully the monocoque structure will come in as well. Let's have a wait and see. I've done a few team events. Hopefully this comes in. There we go. Monocoque reconstruction is through. Both fabrications done. That is fantastic.
They'll be on the car ready for the next race.
There we go. Have a look at that. We are now ahead of Alfa Romeo and pushing towards Alfa Tauri now. We've made a big step, and this is what I was hoping for. 17th, that one might come, that rear wing may well come in for the end of this episode, and hopefully that will happen. But here we go, we've got 918 resource points, and I think I'm going to do barge boards. This is kind of the only one that I can do. That one's in development, and because of the upgrade into our department, we can do 2 upgrades at the same time now. There we go, race simulations done, experience and awareness up for Mick. And the rear wing has come in. That is fantastic, particularly for a track like Singapore. And let's have a look at the R&D page now. And we are now ahead of AlphaTauri. This is exactly what I was hoping for. really start to progress, I'll see that we'll be right up there into that midfield. And this is a great opportunity now with the next few Grand Prix coming up. Singapore, Russia, Japan, USA, Mexico, Brazil, UAE. From this point onwards, I'm going to be saving resource points and I'm going to be saving money for the end of the season, because I believe at Japan there should be a change in the regs, and if there isn't a change in the regs, or it's quite minor, then we've got a lot of resource points to boost us towards the start of next season. You can see where we are. We're doing pretty well. The last 3 results have been really good, 8th and 9th. After Silverstone managed to do quite well. So hopefully Singapore will be good for us as we've now boosted ourselves up closer to that midfield. But yeah, I'm going to be saving resource points, get as many of those as possible, because if the changes to the regs are pretty large, then we're going to have to really use up those as best as we can. And I'm going to be saving money now. I've got enough on the facilities. We've got Spec 1 pretty much everywhere, but I'm okay with that. I'm not going to go crazy with the teammate at the end of the year. I want to keep this realistic. I'm not going to go for a Ricardo or someone like that. It's going to be someone further back, whether that's George Russell or Kevin Magnussen. I'll post to you guys again as we get towards the end of the season. Maybe from Brazil, we'll have that conversation and see how we go. And that is where I'm going to leave the episode for today. Another good result. We struggled a little bit for pace, but with all those upgrades coming in all at once, has boosted us right into that midfield. This is what I've been waiting for 4 or 5 Grand Prix now, trying to get those big upgrades in, and it's really helped us. So hopefully this is going to help us into the Singapore Grand Prix. And like I said before, we're going to be saving our resource points and our money now to the end of the season, or for the resource points at least, until the rule changes do get confirmed heading into season 2 of this series. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. I really appreciate all the comments and the likes and the follows on the support, because it means so much to me. This is something I'm kind of doing off my own back, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's so much fun, and to see the engagement on the series and people commenting and stuff really means a lot, and I'm loving doing this. It's really, really good fun, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it just as much as I am. As always, subscribe to the channel for more F1 2020 My Team content, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.